Hello and welcome to one of our final high school football shows of the 2008 season. I'm Dennis Whitton and welcome to LowellSun.com's High School Football Show. Now, a number of local teams picked up wins this weekend to set themselves up for potential playoff berths. In New Hampshire, both Bishop Girton and Pelham clinched playoff spots with wins last weekend and will both host the playoffs this Saturday as number one seeds in their division. In Mass, Drake had moved closer to the outright MVC title and playoff berth with a big win over Chelmsford. The Middies only have to win one of their remaining two games to clinch the MVC's playoff berth, including this week's game against Tewksbury, which is our Sun webcast game of the week. In the Dual County League, both Acton, Boxborough, and Bedford set themselves up for the playoffs with wins this weekend, while Austin Prep and Lowell Catholic are just one win away each from clinching a playoff berth. Now in Central Mass, Littleton High set up a playoff rematch with Lunenburg by dispensing with Narragansett Regional on Friday night. That's where our correspondent Carmen Frangelo is this week to talk with the Tigers head coach Mike Lynn.
Littleton is heading into its final two games of the season with an 8-1 record, and they're coming off a very big win over a league rival Narragansett, and that helped put them in the playoffs again for the second straight year. Coach, can you just talk a bit about the win over Narragansett and a little bit about your team?
Yeah, very proud of the win over Narragansett. We're coming off a tough loss the previous week to Lunenburg, where we lost with they scored with 47 seconds left. And we knew we had another big game on our hands with playoff implications. And the week prior to us playing Lunenburg, Narragansett had played them, and it went to double overtime out at Lunenburg. So we were expecting a very hard-fought game. Our kids came out and really put probably their best effort forward. And, we had a pretty sound victory, I think 34-6 over Narragansett. Came as a bit of a surprise, but they really didn't match up that well with us. I think that we were the better team that night.
You're coming off a year last year where you made the playoffs last year. You had a dramatic overtime win over your arch rival Air on Thanksgiving Day. How much of the momentum from last season was a carryover into this year for these kids? And I know you have some experienced players back, too, from that club.
Yeah, we were really looking at a two-year run here with last year and this year. We knew 3-4 years ago that these were going to be our 2 years. When we were, 3-8 and 5-6, I think, respectively, we were telling those guys when they were young and they were getting banged around in the field that when you're juniors and seniors, we're going to put it all together and we're going to surprise some people. And we did that last year with our first league championship in 29 years and our first playoff berth ever with football. And this year, Lunenburg has won the league championship outright, but we're back in the playoffs, have another shot at them on that Tuesday following Thanksgiving. So I think it's just been a matter of we've met the goals that we've set for ourselves, and we're pretty proud of it. We're actually in the Division III West. We're the smallest boy enrollment school in the picture, and we've been one of the top two schools the last 2 years.
Just talk about some of the key guys on this ball club that have made it go this fall.
Yeah, we have 16 seniors this year, which is really a high number for a school our size. Zach Clark obviously is a returning star at running back and in the secondary. He's actually been playing a lot of linebacker last couple weeks. Mike Rentschler has been he's outside linebacker for us. He's a halfback in the backfield, punter, place kicker, kickoff, just does it all. Greg Moody, who's our quarterback, who was waiting behind Will Zimmerman last year, has had an outstanding season passing the ball, blocking in our offense as well. Eric White, our fullback, has had a huge year. Jordan White, his brother, has had a huge year on both sides of the ball. Offensive line-wise, that's where we graduated the most kids, and we have had seniors step into those positions, and we're probably functioning at even a higher level this year as far as our offensive line, yeah.
Just a bit about you have two regular season games left, Oxford this weekend and then Air on the traditional game on Thanksgiving. Will it be hard to keep these guys up the last couple of games heading into the playoffs?
I don't think so. These guys, this senior class in particular, is just a real football class. I think every one of these kids, their main sport is football, and they just love being out here. They love playing. They actually love practicing, too. They do a good job out there during the week.
Thanks a lot, Carmen. Now we've got a lot of big games this weekend, so let's see what Rick feels about most of them. Rick, take it away.
Thanks, Dennis. All right, as Dennis kind of outlined for you, we're heading down the home stretch here. Only 2 more games left for everybody, and he told you what the teams did last week and what they have to do now. I'm thinking that Dracut is going to beat Tewksbury and end all the speculation in the Merrimack Valley Conference this weekend. Although if they do happen to lose, and then they lose to Methuen on Thanksgiving, it could get really messy. We also have Billerica playing Lowell this week, and if Dracut does lose its last 2 games, the winner of that game could conceivably get in a 3-way tie and into a coin flip on Thanksgiving for the playoff berth. But as I said, I think Dracut's going to beat Tewksbury handily and end all the speculation there. In the Dual County League, I see Acton-Boxborough wrapping things up by beating Newton South this week, also handily. Bedford and Concord-Carlisle, if they both win this weekend in the small school division of the DCL, it could all come down for those 2 teams to Thanksgiving Day. Arlington is also in the mix. But that Bedford-Concord-Carlisle game could mean everything on Thanksgiving. I think Bedford and Concord will both win this weekend over Tingsboro and Wayland, and it will come down to Thanksgiving. Now, Lowell Catholic, all of a sudden, even though they lost to Marion last week, has a shot if they beat Pope John on Thanksgiving of getting into a 3-way tie for first place. And apparently, because they're the only one of the 3 teams that has not gone to the playoffs or the Super Bowl, they're going to be the ones that get to go to the playoffs. Now, I think they are going to beat Pope John on Thanksgiving, and they're going to get into the playoffs for the first time ever. Out in central Massachusetts, Littleton is already in. Groton-Dunstable, I believe, also has in their first year a shot. They're number 2 now in their division of making it to the playoffs, and that would be remarkable. They're playing a winless Montechusett Tech team this weekend. They should win that one, and I'm thinking that they're going to get into the playoffs, and good for them. Now up in New Hampshire, as Dennis mentioned, Pelham and Bishop Girton are both in state semifinals in Division 2 and Division 5. Pelham is playing a Kearsarge team they beat in a close 26-20 game during this season, and Bishop Girton is playing a Keene team that it lost to 18-14, but they didn't have their quarterback, Andy Vallis. Girton didn't. Andy Vallis is back. I think both of our locals are going to win. They're going to advance to the state finals next week, probably against St. Thomas Aquinas and Exeter. Check out my full chart on Thursday and have a great weekend.